Have you ever looked at a litter and felt in your gut that something was wrong, but you were paralyzed by what should you do or what the results might end up being, so you did nothing? After over 16 years of raising rabbits and hundreds of kits, I've learned the skill of weighing the risk versus the reward and looking at what I can do to help them thrive in their situation without letting it paralyze me or feeling guilty about the result at the end of it if it wasn't exactly the way that I wanted. So let's take a look at this massive litter that I have put together. There have been some issues with what we had to do because of how big they are. And then once we look at them and just show you the things that happened and the results that we got, I'm going to share some principles that I have learned to remind myself of. You bring yourself back around and know that you've done your best and you are still helping the animals that you were trying to raise. We are officially, all of them are 1 week old to 10 days old. So we are down to 11 as of last night. So I'm trying to count again every morning. We got 3. This gets tough. All right, I try to let them settle down and then count. We got 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, still a good head count. I decided last night to put one down that was just not getting fed well. I mean, it was like Holocaust survivor level skinny. So I don't like letting them do that at that age. That's just not kind to let it waste away that bad. So obviously we gave it as long of a chance as possible. But what I'm watching for is like this one, still has a little bit of, it's looking a little on the thin side. So I really think I might start offering them some pellets. Obviously this is way younger than I would like, but like these ones are just going to start beating them to it. And also she cannot, I mean, the amount of milk she would have to make for them at this age is just outrageous, especially like looking at this one. I mean, this one is double, if not triple the size of some of the other ones. So these ones are just going to start falling behind even more. So we got to go unconventional rules with this one. I would not start pellets for another week, but that could also lead us to losing more of the smaller ones. So we're just going to try it and see what happens. We still have 4 of Dahlia's and then what would be 7 of Jessie's. So not bad considering how rough the situation was. All right, I've got a little bit of feed in a cup. Normally I just put it in there with them and see if they smell it, what they think of it. See if we can prop it there. And then some of these ones that are a little bit on the hungrier side and the smaller side, just let them smell it. They might be interested in it. They might not. Just depends. This is really young, so I truthfully don't expect anything. Yeah, they're like, I don't know. Some of them, what do you think? Can you smell it? What do you think? Yeah, this is like out of their radar. But I really want them to start testing it out just to see, like, does it seem interesting? Can you eat something else if you want? See, like, that one's nibbling on the straw. So I'm like, hey, what about this? Hey, what do you think of that? Whoop. Yeah, see, there he goes. So I'm just like, if they can get nutrition, however they can get it, honestly, I don't care. We get some of them to wake up and pay attention. Yeah, see? Yeah. So this is way younger than I would actually do it. But if they're not super full, like these fat ones, like, they might be interested in it. So, because I really think if they stayed this skinny, I mean, they're not skinny, but if they didn't eat anything else for the next week, I bet we would lose a couple more. Just because of, I mean, that would take a lot of milk. I mean, this sucker is huge. So, yeah, they're enjoying it now. So I don't know how Mama would behave with this. She might throw it out. I've had trouble with some does allowing it to stay in there. So maybe during the day I would take them out and let them have some so that she doesn't just throw it around. Might be what we would have to do. Because they're not going to eat a lot, but it's something. What do you think? I don't think you've been up here. What do you think? Ooh, is that interesting? Yeah? All right, I've done something that I always feel bad for every time I do it, but the older group, Jessie's original litter, is 2 weeks old now, and in 2 days, Dahlia's babies will be 2 weeks old. And my main reason for turning the nest box on its side is so they can get out and still have a place to go hide. But poor Mama now does not have her containment device anymore. But what I've done, because a lot of them are still on the small side, is I've put resting mats underneath as much of the
open area as possible. So there's 3 all along here. I wish I had a 4th to put kind of under here, but that's the reason for dumping in a bunch of straw, is so that will fill the gaps of the holes so that the feet don't go through. Because that's your biggest concern now, is their little feet getting through and then breaking a leg or something like that. And I know, like, yes, for the most part, people are like, all solid floors, but I don't think it's as healthy. They don't get their airflow like they need. And within a couple of days, truthfully, even like a week, even the littler guys will get much bigger pretty quick. But I think the other reason I chose to do it as well is that she's nursing less, I can just tell, and they're going to need access to water. And if they're stuck in the box, I had the food there for them, but then they're not able to get to the water. So it's just time. If we want to give them the best chance possible we still have the 11. We just need to give them access to everything, and their bodies will tell them what they need to go find. So here we are, next phase. I think we're doing good since we made it to this far. So now the question is, she's digging at that. Let's hope she doesn't just blow this whole design to pieces and throw everything around and cause damage. So we'll see in a couple hours.
So we did end up losing 2 that were kind of our fault when we ended up turning the nest box over on his side, because this door is over 2 feet long, and so it was loose enough for them to push through. So, of course, when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, we could have prevented that. And of course I felt awful about it, but you got to move on. And so I think she could have raised the 11 if that wouldn't have happened. So 2 losses were on us. When we did before that, 1 completely disappeared. I don't know what happened. It was probably latched on nursing and just fell out of the cage because of the holes they can creep through. No problem. So should I probably get some baby saving guards? Yeah, probably. So we'll probably do that. Because normally I don't flip the nest box over this early, but because they were so big and the older they got, she was not going to have enough milk to survive that many or feed that many. So they had to get pellet access early. And then another one, which that first loss brought us down to 12. Then we had another one that was one of the small ones anyways, getting so skinny that was like Holocaust survivor type skinny. And I just decided it was like a mercy put down kind of thing. I was not going to allow it to completely starve to death, basically. So that brought us down to the 11, and then we had the 2 losses. So did it go perfectly? No, but we did our best, and we had more surviving than if I had not put the 5 in with what would have been the 8. So we did good. I think we did good. I call it a win. And one of the things that has helped me gain confidence in taking action in these types of situations is tracking and just being able to go back and look at what I chose to do in that situation, and maybe some notes around would I have done this differently or be mindful of this thing. And in doing so, I create myself some sort of notes or binder or just notes of what had happened. And so for anyone who loves paper and to handwrite things, which I am in that camp, I created the printable Rabbitry management planner, and that has things like breeding trackers, results trackers, places where you can do like what your treatment was and what the results were. So if you want access to that, there is a link in the description. So principle number 1 for me is always asking the opposite of what my fear is. So not what if something goes wrong, ask myself, what if I do nothing? So what is the result if I did nothing to that litter? Well, very likely they would have starved, or they would have been super weak and just not thrived, and ultimately not producing that good of animals either. So that was what the ultimate choice had to be when I chose to flip the nest box on its side. Yes, we ended up losing some because they could get out prematurely, and that was partly our own fault. That was our own learning lesson. It was where I didn't even think about adding extra clips to the bottom bar of the door, because our doors are massive because we have big nest boxes. So you're always going to have issues like that. Could I beat myself up for losing the 2? Sure. But that doesn't do anything for my ability to take care of the rabbits. It paralyzes me the next time I need to do something. So if you're super prone to worry and fear and all of that, you have to learn to just go, what if I had done nothing? And is that result the thing that you can go to bed with? And so maybe for you that is the case. Then by all means, do what you are able to do to sleep at night. But I know my own thoughts is, if I had not given them access to pellets and feed earlier, and they were weaker and skinny and just not doing well, like the one that I had to end up ultimately putting down, was, do I want more of them to end that way? Not really. And so I am a proponent of assisting nature as much as possible, but not also allowing something that I can help, even though there might be some risks in there, stop me. And then the second principle that I try to remember is that there is no perfect choice. There's no perfect answer to any solution. And it's truthfully not our job to find the perfect solution. Our job is just to give the rabbits their best chance at survival. And you can take this to any animal that you own. As you know, there always could be something better, but is it worth the cost of your mental drain and struggles to allow that to eat away at your mind? And to me, the answer is no. And this last principle that I think you need to take to heart, and it will hopefully empower you to make better choices or just different choices and try things, is your skill sets are not going to grow if you don't test things and learn. Because we're in a world that's like, try to go by the book and like have no problems ever happen. And that's just not life, especially with rabbits and animals. We always need to be okay with problems that are going to show up and just make note of it and go, this is what happened. This was the result I got. And it either was great or it wasn't. And this is what we'll do differently next time. That's how I've come up with a lot of my healthcare solutions with the rabbits, is to where I tried something, it worked, tried something new and it didn't. And so you're going to have those things, and it's worth the test, because you never know that you might find a better solution, and that's fine. But you just have to be willing to try it and know that if you went into it with your best intention and your best effort, that's all you can ask of yourself. That's all anyone can ask of you. So I hope this follow-up video was helpful for you, in the sense that you are encouraged to try new things, and also know that 16 years into it, we're still trying new things, and I'm testing different things out and going, how's this going to work out? I don't know. I hope it's the best result possible, but you absolutely cannot let it eat at your day and your week, or make you feel like a failure, because there are going to be a lot of bumps and bruises that will knock you out if you allow those things to do so. Because I would not still be here at this point in the game, now 33 years old, after starting just this breed at 16, or so I was like 17 when I first got them. And so I've had a rabbit since I was 5, and my first herd since I was 10 years old. So, there's been a lot of issues along the way. And so you just have to keep fighting and keep trying and be willing to keep going. Well, as you can see, we've got a bunch of babies that are thriving and doing well. I think they've all pretty much caught up with each other. There are 2 weeks, and some of them are like 2 weeks and 2 days or so. All their eyes are open. This is one of the foster babies. Nice and filled out, wide butt. So they are pretty much getting towards pellets now. We're going to have to really start dumping the pellets in there. This one is a little bit smaller of one. They're all napping now, but yeah, nobody's skinny, nobody's super small anymore. It all worked out pretty well. Hi, Mama. You did such a good job. Yes, you did. So we did end up losing 2 that were kind of our fault when we ended up turning the nest box over on his side, because this door is over 2 feet long, and so it was loose enough for them to push through. So, of course, when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, we could have prevented that. And of course I felt awful about it, but you got to move on. And so I think she could have raised the 11 if that wouldn't have happened. So 2 losses were on us. When we did before that, one completely disappeared. I don't know what happened. It was probably latched on nursing and just fell out of the cage because of the holes they can creep through, no problem. So should I probably get some baby saving guards? Yeah, probably. So we'll probably do that, because normally I don't flip the nest box over this early, but because they were so big and the older they got, she was not going to have enough milk to survive that many or feed that many. So they had to get pellet access early. And then another one, which that first loss brought us down to 12. Then we had another one that was one of the small ones anyways, getting so skinny. That was like Holocaust survivor type skinny. And I just decided it was like a mercy put down kind of thing. I was not going to allow it to completely starve to death, basically. So that brought us down to the 11. And then we had the 2 losses. So did it go perfectly? No, but we did our best. And we had more surviving than if I had not put the 5 in with what would have been the 8. So we did good. I think we did good. I called it a win.